Welcome to Finding Ourself, a podcast about the power of presence, connection, and the transformation that is only possible through touch. So if you're curious about human connection, somatic healing, or what it really means to belong, you're in the right place. Let's find ourselves together. Hello! Welcome. Another exciting episode of Finding Ourselves. My name is Keely Shoup, and this is Michelle Renee, our co-host. Michelle, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I'm a cuddle therapist in San Diego and director of training and co-owner of Cuddlist. It's good to be here.
I am, as I said, Keely. I am the CEO and co-owner of Cuddlist, and we're really excited today, in specific, because we have Clarissa with us. Clarissa has been with Cuddlist since 2017 in private practice in Santa Cruz, California, offers unconditional presence and somatic awareness practices to facilitate the experience of safe physical connection and emotional intimacy. I have known you for like sprinklings throughout that. And so having you today on this call with all of your background from interpersonal neurobiology and internal family systems, the meditation and non-duality studies, just all that you bring to this space, I'm thrilled to have you here. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm excited to get you guys to myself for once. Because you're both so busy all the time. So yeah, it's really nice to be here with you guys.
I want to acknowledge, as much as I've been involved with Cuddlist over the years, that it wasn't till recently that you and I ended up in like a bit of space together. I think when the co-working call was like,
right.
all these years, like I've been here since the end of 2015, you're 2017, like it's a long time, and it's good to have you here. I'm really excited for this conversation.
Thanks. Me too. Thanks.
You are also one of the, from my perspective, when I started 2015, you were one of the OG people, right? This industry is a bit newer.
I feel OG. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Yeah. This industry is a little bit newer, right? As a whole, as a formed industry.
It means a lot to be OG because we were like the trailblazers and it was not easy.
Yeah. And are you comfortable sharing a little bit more about what that starting process was like for you? I know a little bit of your story and it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, well, it was a haul to get here. I had a career in Homeland Security for 10 years. And I just hit an absolute bottom with that emotionally, spiritually. And so I decided to dive into the only thing that I really knew and trusted, which was Tantra. And we're talking about classical Tantra, the Tantra that is more about spiritual awareness. And eventually I worked up the nuts to leave the matrix and did a shit ton of training and obviously my own inner work. And I found Cuddlist that felt like, there were a lot of other snuggle services that I researched, but Cuddlist was so solid in terms of how they vet their cuddlists and also what they offer, the code of conduct and all that. And so I was really happy to be aligned with Cuddlist, and it felt like a good way to open up my front door. And my whole intention behind all of that, because for me, my life has just been a spiritual journey, 100%, was just to sustain my life using my gifts without causing harm. And Cuddlist was a way I could do that.
I love that. And talk about roads that have massive shifts from a world of just in general, very corporate setting of federal government, right? And then in that, my husband's in the federal government. So that setting is pretty far from what I would say the vibe, the energetic setting of what we do in our work. And then for it to also be Homeland Security, just like that entire life shift. Huge stuff.
Yeah, it was soul crushing. It was me answering the call of my conditioning until I hit the bottom of that, and whereas, as you're alluding to, what we do now is a milieu of authenticity, of total authenticity, which is almost completely the opposite. but it's real, man, and
I've
I wanted to live
I have
real.
goosebumps from
Do you?
answering the call of my conditioning.
Same.
Mm,
That
yeah. You too,
oof.
yeah. Yeah, I
Oof,
mean, it's
relate
what we do
hard.
until we go, "Wait a minute, hold on a minute," until the blessing of the bottom comes and we decide to investigate.
Goosebumps again, the blessing of the
Mm,
bottom. Woof. Yeah.
It makes me think about compulsory as a term, right?
mm, mm,
I'm in the asexual world and we talk about compulsory
mm,
sexuality, right? Some
mm.
of us
Oh
have
my god.
experienced sex from a place of it's a compulsory thing because of how
Yeah,
we're trained,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's where it all kind of tied together. And I also goosebumpy, Keely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And really that's such a part of what tantra was for me in the beginning was examining my conditioning around sexuality. I think that our Western culture has turned it into just sexuality, but it's
Yeah.
so much more than that. And to really dive into like what is my conditioning around sexuality? Holy crap, that's a fucking Pandora's box
Oh
in a
gosh,
big
yeah.
way.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. So we've not touched really on the show so far of even defining tantra. I think that you
Mm.
nail on the head when you said the Western world, when they hear
Mm.
tantra, they immediately think sexuality first and almost exclusively. But can you share a little glimpse into what that experience actually looked like for you?
Yeah. Yeah. God, it was so my first tantra workshop was in 2003, and then I lived in a place where it was like a spiritual desert, and
Mm.
so I didn't get back into it until 2010, and it was I would say mind blowing, but it was heart blowing. And so I would be like sitting in DC in the basement of a vault,
Mm.
because of the kind of stuff that I worked on, and I'd be sitting at this conference table looking around and just seeing the heart of each being at this table and just like melting into this blissfulness and just loving each being. Seeing the being and loving them unconditionally. So yeah, and then the early tantra pujas that I went to. So there's a lot of different kinds of pujas out there. There's white, pink, red, whatever. I went to white pujas, and the practice of sitting across from a stranger from moment to moment to moment and seeing their essence, their divine, their unconditioned selves, and
Mhm.
just loving that being exactly as they are. I feel like that was so much of my training to become a true cuddle therapist and to be able to welcome clients exactly as they are and to know there is nothing wrong with them. Nothing.
Mhm. That is such a cornerstone too. I wonder, so do you feel like that messaging, that there is nothing fundamentally
Mm,
wrong with you? That's really at
mm,
a very core thing that we talk about with Cuddlist is that like we're
mm.
not trying to fix people. We're not even we have a complicated relationship with the word healer even because
I
that
have never
implies
liked that word. Yeah.
right. I understand why some people adopt it and some people feel really
Mm.
good about that languaging. I can
Right,
understand
right.
it, but there's a little bit of complication, especially with the core cuddlist philosophy of like, we're not doing that. You are whole. We're there to sit and be
Mm-hmm.
present with you and kind of let who
Mm-hmm.
you are get loved. Get
Yeah.
actual attention, get some airtime as opposed to all the social conditioning and the way you're supposed to be and the
Yeah.
good, like the good girl or the good boy or the good person that you're
Mm,
supposed to
mm,
face you're supposed to have on.
mm-hmm.
Right. So do you
Yeah.
feel like that was a piece of one of the things you connected to?
Well, I sort of found that on my own. I didn't really understand that as a Cuddlist fundamental.
Mm,
The way and Cuddlist has evolved a lot,
true.
in the last eight
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Um, but my interpretation of that is that, like for me, the best thing I can do is create complete safety, and not just physical safety, emotional safety, intellectual safety, spiritual safety, because I think that is synonymous with connection. So
Mhm.
I think that as people experience safety on deeper and deeper levels, they simultaneously experience connection first with themselves. And then when they're like, then it's safe to experience connection with somebody else.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
But yeah.
how many times, at least I speak from my own experience, I feel like it was way later in my life before I ever got to have that experience.
Of true safety.
Yeah, to have
Yeah.
what felt like that unconditional positive regard
Mm,
in a personal relationship, and how much I was able
mm,
to grow because of
yeah.
that experience. And so when I come into a session, I'm like, that's what I want people to have, that maybe it's their first time also.
Yeah.
And then they can know what that feels like so that they can look for that out in the regular world.
Hmm. Yeah, it's so complex, right? Because we can't grow unless we feel safe.
Mhm.
Because growing is an act of vulnerability. It's like the most vulnerable part of the plant is where you'll see a sprout come out. And and if we don't even know that we don't feel safe, which I think most people don't even know they don't feel safe.
It's just the water they're swimming in.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So my sense then is, as a practitioner, is the best I can do is create that safety and then help them see the places where they don't feel safe. Just I'm just noticing, and bring their own awareness, because their own consciousness will heal themselves. And it's just, yeah, creating that space where they can turn their light on brighter and brighter. But in the meantime, they can borrow our light, to turn up the lantern a little bit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Feel the
remember
light
sitting
in
at
the room.
I remember
Yeah.
sitting on an airplane and listening to a podcast, and I wish I could quote the woman, but I can't remember her name. Um, but she said, like, people have all the answers, right? They just need a
Mhm.
safe place to sort that stuff out. So they just need a safe person to listen and
100%.
hold them. And I was like, this is it. This is it. This right here.
Mm.
Like, that's why I don't resonate with the word healer. Like, I
Yeah.
say I'm scaffolding.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah, or facilitating,
Mhm.
just
mhm,
facilitating the safety.
mhm,
Yeah,
yeah,
Mhm.
right on. I like the scaffolding. I like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
I
creates
for me. Sorry, go ahead.
I would say it just creates an image, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
For me, because I've spent many years studying non-duality, I I have an aversion to the word healer, because to me, it's another way of ego just putting on a cloak, right? And like my friend has a saying that, we do the work, we work on ourselves, and then ego runs down to the basement and puts on a new disguise. And that's my experience. Any kind of identity or attachment, I'm going to actually lose myself if I, mm, oh, I'm a healer. Yeah. And then, 5 months later, I'm gaslighting clients or something. I don't know. But
And that's where
that's
you get
my,
these big, like, cult of personality, to put to further your point, right? You've got these
mm,
big, sometimes these big, like the trope of, like, the white guru, right? Those kind of folks, I think they don that thing, and it could have been at the very beginning and at the start, beautiful, lovely, heartfelt, connected
right.
work was happening, and then the ego just
Paved
got
with good
real
intentions.
excited. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
Put on
as
that
I like to
cloak.
call it, a white girl with crystals.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which,
Absolutely.
no offense. I mean, crystals have their place and all that. I just, yeah, it's why I've flown pretty solo for most of my time in my practice. Like I have a mentor who's a psychotherapist who's been in practice for 25 years, and I have teachers, that I study and read constantly. But I have found, like, I'm really into Course in Miracles, and I did Course in Miracles hardcore, where I met with this one group every week for 2 years. And I ended up doing so much spiritual bypassing as a result of that, you
Mhm.
know? Oh my God. And just hurting myself and probably hurting people that I loved.
Mhm.
It's such tricky, tricky stuff. It really is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We
Does that, does spiritual bypassing resonate for you guys?
Can
100%.
you, like, describe it a little bit for people at home listening?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a word that was coined by a psychotherapist who was at a Buddhist monastery. And he realized that all these people who were trying so hard to be Buddhist were avoiding what was real for them. They were trying to act their way into being spiritual, which, oh my God, they were bypassing what was true and real and authentic in the moment. Undoubtedly, because they didn't feel safe to just be
Mm-hmm.
real and
Mm-hmm.
to just say, I feel like jacking off today, so I'll see you guys at meditation at 5 o'clock.
Wouldn't that
Like we're
be
just,
that would be an amazing world if we could just have that kind of transparency. Wouldn't that be
it
great?
would be incredible because, oh my God, the kinds of distortion that occur because life just wants to flow. And when it hits a wall of unsafety, it distorts and goes back in you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have a culture of trauma. So
I
here we
hear
are.
spiritual bypassing echoed a lot in like the extreme of the good vibes only crowd,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? It's the we don't want to acknowledge pain, trauma, challenge, conflict because we're just here for the good vibes or we're just here to be light and love and
Yeah.
only light and love. But what that does, it acknowledging the authentic raw feeling is there doesn't mean dwelling in it, and it doesn't mean you are not finding peace. Sometimes you've got to
Well,
go through those things to get to a different place.
and they are a part of life. They are
Right.
a part of life. But I think the thing where people get caught is they think it means something about them. If I'm not happy, that means something about me.
Yeah.
Fucking nothing means anything about me. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
means anything about me. But the only way I can find that out is by facing it all down. Really stepping into it, leaning into it, walking through the fire and coming out the other side and going, "Oh, the me that's left has nothing to do with any of that." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It just makes we talked about IFS as part of your
Mm,
bio, and that's what
yeah.
popped in my head right now is like finding what self is compared
Mm.
to all of our
Yeah, you're
parts.
the name for your podcast. I love it. It's so beautiful. So beautiful.
Yay.
Yeah,
I resonate with it.
but those parts arose because in those moments I thought something was wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
just, oh fuck, and oh my God. Oh, you guys. I just finished a year and a half of training with Gabor Mate, and so now I have this very clear picture of like what's wrong with our culture and what's wrong with our
Did
parenting. And
you
I'm,
did you do
ooh,
compassionate inquiry?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Did you do too?
I haven't, but I have a couple of colleagues that are
Yeah,
in my inner circle that have gone through the program.
yeah, yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, an
Mm.
incredible education. And for me, it answered the question of how is it that an unlimited spirit, perfect being, comes into a body and ends up identified as this fucked up little ego? How does that happen? And it totally answered the question. 100% answered the
Ooh,
question. Yeah.
that sounds powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It really
Well,
was.
I would just this came up in a lunch date just the other day, this training. And what I love that was focused on is there's so much work that you do on yourself first in the training.
Mm,
And I think about our work in the cuddle world and how much my personal work on myself has helped me have a different type of client. Some of that is
mm,
certainly probably the evolution of our industry and how we have a different makeup of client base than we did when we
mm.
first started. But I like to think that I'm more capable of holding
Mm.
a different kind of container now because of like just doing the interpersonal work so that I understand that it's not about me, right?
Right. Or that it's not even about the client.
Hmm.
Like we're not able to face the wounds in others that we haven't faced in ourselves. Like, yeah, but I'm so with you on that, Michelle, about how vital my own inner work is because one of the tenets of my practice is that a practitioner can only facilitate healing to the degree that they have worked on themselves. It's like
Hmm.
a ceiling, right? That our ego won't let us. We'll have our little triggers that'll come up, and that's so much of what like this next level in the Gabor Mate's training is about is the triggers that come up in me as a practitioner. And holy shit, I'm riddled with them. I thought, I'm fucking solid, but nope, there's all kinds of sub-personalities just that want to come out, and have an agenda or whatever.
I never put it together that that's what countertransference is.
Mm.
Like, I was just
Mhm.
in a really, more of a deep dive class on, transference and countertransference, and we talk
Uh-huh.
about it very briefly in our training and stuff, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
never put it together that it's more than just, "Oh, I have feelings," the client has feelings for me or whatever, but it's everything that is running through your head and getting projected onto your client, and I'm just, like, mind blown.
It is massive, yeah.
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 One
And,
one okay. Please, please, please go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say, speaking of the training, I just wanted to really acknowledge to both of you guys because I had to go back and redo it, right, to just get on the same page. It is miles apart from the training when I first joined Cuddlist. It is so fucking good. The content is so solid. There's a lot of breadth and depth to it. There's a lot of recommendations so that people can go down and investigate further. And honestly, I thought the very best part was the diversity and equity. Really, really good. Just, so good. So
Thank
anyway,
you.
yeah, I just wanted to say bravo, you guys. Like,
I
mm,
get a little
yeah.
That
nervous
means so
when
much.
yeah, I get a little nervous when people that have taken the old training come through. At least I used to get nervous, but I've gotten enough feedback now that I'm like, "No, I really trust that you're gonna gain something new out of this." And I can take a little bit of an exhale when so we ask in class, like, "What brought you to training today?" And we'll get that
Mm,
occasional, "I'm here because I have to be, or you're gonna kick me out." Right?
Mhm.
And
yeah.
I used to get really anxious around that, and I'm like, "No, I think you're gonna be on the other side of this and going, 'Oh, I'm really glad I did this.'"
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was validating, at the very least, validating that I still fully align with Cuddlist.
Great.
100%. Yeah. Yeah.
There
But I imagine
was
it was a lot of work to put together. So,
I gonna
yeah.
Keely worked their butt off. I will say there was a lot of a group effort in some of the ways, but that polished product that you see is a lot of hours from
yeah, I
Keely.
can only imagine. Yeah.
I
Right
I
on.
appreciate that. And you mentioned a thing about like giving people the like little rabbit holes if they want to go down them deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
Yeah.
always kind of a balancing act and sort of almost like an art form to like, okay, we've got so much we got to fit into a limited amount of time, right? And so where can we leave these breadcrumbs because we know how impactful following this thing is and we don't have the scope for this
Yeah.
moment for people
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
for us to go into that here. So like what's the thing that I know they can come away with? I don't want people to come away from that training with only surface level stuff. We need to go deep in something
Yeah.
so that when they leave the course, they've got some concrete, okay, I have this skill, I have this thing, and I can start with these fundamentals, right? And so they've got to get
Yeah.
enough mastery of those. But we know that course is not going to be what it looks like after you've practiced for 2 years. There's so much
Right.
more that
Yeah.
gets learned and absorbed, and these little rabbit trails that we leave are like, hey, if you thought this was interesting, go check out this video and check out this book and check out this course
Yeah.
and follow
Yeah.
that rabbit hole because if this
Yeah.
resonated, there's a lot there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Which
you can never learn it all.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It makes
Anyway,
it brings me
you
to,
can
like
never learn it all.
yes. I have gone to digital, but I wish I could display my digital library for sure. That makes me wonder, when I when I think of those extras, it's a lot of times for me about figuring out what do I feel like my specialty is? What is
Mm.
the group of people that I love working with the most? So I'm curious, what have you found to be your sweet spots, your ideal client? Like, what does that look like for you these days?
Especially after CI, compassion inquiry, it really is. My sweet spot is clients who want to heal.
Mhm.
So there are going to be people who just want what I think of as a band-aid. It's totally cool. It's maintenance. I just want to co-regulate. I just want to feel a warm, safe body.
Mhm.
But but getting conscious, it takes some effort because we live in a culture that teaches us to be unconscious. And so people who want to heal, which requires getting conscious, that's my fucking sweet spot, man.
Mm.
All day long. And I will go through the fire with you and be right alongside you all the way, ride or
Mhm.
die.
Yeah. But I want to say, even for the client that doesn't think that's what they're there for, um,
It could be a beginning no matter what.
and these little shifts, this, like I said, if you've
Mm,
never experienced somebody giving you their full undivided attention
yeah.
and really celebrating whoever you are,
Hmm.
however you show up, that can be quite the unconscious catalyst
Sure.
to
Yeah.
showing up in the world differently, which then has this snowball effect. I tell a story about a client that comes for 1 hour once a month, like clockwork. And I always think it's such a short session. Why don't we do longer sessions? And his
Mm,
thing is like, just with that 1 hour, people open up to him more, right? So he's getting
mm,
more connection outside of
mm.
our space because he's showing up differently from our
Yeah.
time together.
Yeah. Right
Mhm.
on.
So
Yeah.
it
I love
can be
that.
a thing that happens even if you're not coming in for that specific
Without
purpose.
conscious intention. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But I also
Absolutely.
hear
Yeah.
in your practice, you are most excited about the people who are ready, who like that first seed moment has happened, and they're like, "Ooh, this is the good stuff," and you're like, "Yes, it is. Come
Who
with
are,
me."
yeah, those who are aware that, like,
Mhm,
I want things to be different. This doesn't quite feel right.
mhm.
Yeah.
No, those
Yeah.
I'm with you, Clarissa. Those are the ones that light my
Right.
fire.
So juicy.
Yeah.
So juicy. Yeah. Yeah. But Michelle, I really appreciate what you're saying, which is that everyone, everyone is equally important, equally valuable, equally precious, equally meaningful, everyone equally worthy of that.
And we
I
can
see.
never know what they're going to get out of their time with us.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Right? We
Or
have
what we get
no
out
way,
of
or what we get out
what
of
we
it
get
too.
out of it.
Yeah.
Every client brings a gift. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm. I like that you
Right
bring
on.
that into it too, because the cornerstone of this work is so relational, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a lot of, we talked a little bit in the beginning about the Western world lens and how it shifts things, and how the
Mm,
Western world
mm,
lens of Tantra is different than the experience of it and the classic,
mm.
Tantra
Yeah.
teachings. But how that relates to this is that in more traditional Western, very academic therapeutic spaces, there's an intention and by design a very strict professional distance, right? And in our work, because our bodies are literally involved in the process, there is a different way in which we're holding the space, right? But we're in the experience together,
Mm.
and
Fuck
we are
yeah.
absorbing it just as much as the client is absorbing it, and there's a
Yeah.
little bit more of a human quality there. There's more.
Absolutely, which is why I will never be a licensed psychotherapist. I appreciate why it is that way, and it is not
Hmm.
for me. I love that, Keely. I like to tell clients I am in the ring with you, man.
Hmm.
And I don't have walls. Like, I don't have boundaries around what we talk about, what you
Mhm.
want to ask me. If you need to know things about me personally to make it safe for you, ask
Mhm.
away.
Yeah.
Hmm.
How many of us have cried in front of our clients or with our clients or for our clients?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
All the
Because, oh my
time.
God. Yeah, because, oh, what is it? If it's not real,
Mhm.
what is it? If we're
Because I'm a
not like,
human in the room with you, and you're going through something, and we are feeling.
Mhm.
and possibly we're the first empathetic, abiding witness
Mhm.
that is
Hmm.
feeling that they've ever had,
Mhm.
which is what that does interpersonal neurobiology wise is, yeah.
When I started back with Cuddlist, and I got to have a lot of time with Madeline, one of the
Mm, mm.
co-founders, because I was director of what was I? Director of operations for a long time. One of my perks of my work was having so much close time with Madeline and learning so much from her.
Lucky,
And
lucky, yeah.
yeah, and I remember when I first came into our world, I was a crier and I had a lot of apologizing to do around it. At least I felt like I
Mm,
did, that I
mm,
was
mm.
too much. I was bringing too much of my feelings into the space, and
Uh,
I had these wonderful people in this organization telling me that this is a superpower and that you don't need to
Mm,
apologize for it. All your feelings are
mm,
welcome here. And so when I find myself tearing up with a client, in my head, I'm like, look at you, Michelle. You're setting an example for
mm,
them that that is
mm,
okay here.
Mhm.
And then
mhm.
I will do it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To just be real.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We talk a lot
Yeah.
about, and it goes back to what we were saying a little earlier, of like all emotions are created equal. We have
Mm,
boundaries around our actions, right? There are limitations to what we can do in terms of our actions on other people, but all emotions, the things that you're feeling, they're all created equal and they're all valuable in
mm,
some way. They're
mm.
all important. They're all there
Yes.
and they're all welcome.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes it takes clients a while to trust that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I can
Hmm.
say that in the beginning, but man, it might take some time before they believe that they can let all this shit hang out and be a mess and still be equally loved, accepted,
Hmm.
seen. If they need to scream, if they need to stomp, if they need to hit some pillows, and also actually what this reminds me of too is men who come in who have been traumatized by the Me Too movement
Mhm.
that backfired, on them. Men who are like, who come in like, oh, they're like, oh God, I swear to God, I don't want sex. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I'm just, oh man. Men
Hmm.
who are ashamed of having sexual feelings, like, oh,
Mhm.
Hmm.
There's a lot of
oh,
internalized perpetrator there. There's a lot
oh,
of that fear of, oh no, I'm gonna get it wrong. Oh no, like it's they're because they don't know the other experience, the other side of the experience, right? And
yeah,
and it
right.
there
Yeah,
wasn't a slow, gentle way of talking about that, right? For sure.
yeah.
And that internalization of like, I am bad happens a
Hmm.
lot. Happens a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, and just not feeling safe because 'cause they're so afraid they're
Yeah.
gonna do something wrong.
Yes.
And likewise with emotions, men who have had to they can't cry. Yeah, like, oh my god, I can't even tell you how many men have found their inner child during session work with yeah?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like,
Oh
Hmm.
yeah.
and how many men have been held for the first time.
Hmm.
Men need to be held. Boys need to be held, and if their little boy was never held,
Hmm.
let's do this.
Boys get cut off from touch at
Oh
such a
yeah.
young
More,
age.
more and more.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
Like, it used to be more of like a coming of age adolescence thing where they were pretty cut off because hormones
Mm.
are raging and they're going to be terrible. Like, but it's younger and younger and younger
Yeah,
that men are completely cut off from touch.
yeah, and it's
Unless
just that
unless
bundle.
it's couched in violence, and like people
Mm,
can say what they want about sports, but that is to our bodies
mhm.
indistinguishable from context, right? If
Right.
your only
Yeah.
access to touch is wrestling or
Yep.
football where you're being tackled, your body understands that the only time that I get touch is in aggression, violence, impact.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
have all the contextual awareness that our minds do of like, this is fun, this is a game, there's a difference there.
Yeah.
And if that's
Yeah.
and especially that conditioning, if that's the only time. And then conversely, we see a lot of clients, right? I imagine that you both can relate to this, where it is either that, nothing, or the only time is a sexual context.
Oh,
That is
absolutely.
Right.
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so they like
So
there's this
then,
the whole in between world. You mean that I can access?
right.
That's completely out of their scope of awareness.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can really be a road of untangling
Hmm.
all these types of intimacy, the differences between physical intimacy, emotional intimacy, sexual intimacy, and they're like you alluding to many especially guys, but also some women that I've
Hmm.
seen,
Hmm.
they're all bundled together and they create this incredible nervous system tension that's just like,
Hmm.
ugh, yeah,
How
but
many times have a man or a woman tried to just wanted closeness, and
yep,
their only
that's all
access
they're,
point
yeah,
was, all right, a one night stand or
yeah.
something along those lines,
I did
right?
it for quite a few years after my divorce. I used one night stands to get the cuddling afterwards. right? I
Mhm.
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
conscious of it at the time. I look back at
Sure.
it in retrospect
Yeah.
and go, "Oh, that's what I was doing."
Mm.
But yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's definitely part of our work is helping people that want to. They have to
Yeah.
want to, right? But to
Sure.
untangle
Yeah.
that grouping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then how I found they feel so empowered because
Mhm.
after they start to discover, right, these differences and how and that it meant nothing about them, that this was all this big bundle of tension, and that they're empowered to be conscious about how they go out and experience these different aspects of intimacy. It's and be so fulfilled by it.
Mhm.
And that their shame goes away and the guilt goes away because
Oh, yeah.
uh
They can communicate about those wants and
yeah.
needs. Like there's just such a
Yes.
it's a growing up, right? It's taking a lot of people that have been a little emotionally stunted from maybe traumatic events or just
Yeah.
lack of nurturing or what have you, and
Mhm,
kind of
mhm.
helping them finish growing.
Yeah, totally. And helping people know that it's possible even that
Yeah.
developmental trauma, which is what that is, which means, oh, it's not your fault, there's nothing wrong with you, but we can complete what wasn't completed developmentally because neurology is fucking amazing that way.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. It
Yeah,
makes
how
me
many oh, good.
I think of speaking of Gabor Mate a lot here, but I think it was him that first made it clear to me that trauma isn't always about something that happened to you. It can be something
Mm,
that should have happened that didn't, right?
yeah.
And helping people understand that having a emotionally unavailable parent is very it's yes, you may have had a roof over your head and food on the table and your basic very basic needs met, but you might not have had your emotional needs met, which is a basic need. And then what is that story that we've told ourselves about who we are because of the lack of that?
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to clarify, because Gabor is huge on making this distinguishing point, his point is that trauma is what happens inside us.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
how we separate from our true essence, our true self,
Mhm.
because of what did happen that shouldn't have or did not happen that should have.
Yeah.
And and what I learned more than anything was how the things that don't happen that should have cause, I think, the most damage,
Mm.
of the biggest separation by not getting a parent who's looking at you and just with that, oh my God, I'm so glad you're here. And I welcome all of you. And however you're feeling, it's okay. I'm not going to leave you. I'll be right here until you
Mm.
finish feeling it, you know? Like
Mhm.
that.
Ooh. We all just got a mini session. That was
I
great.
got I'm like I got to go to Santa Cruz cuz I need a session with Clarissa.
Right? Oh,
You know
it's so
what? Can
good.
I just need to acknowledge my mother who
Oh.
passed very unexpectedly 5 years ago, but she gave me that mother
Mm,
love.
you're so
And
Mm.
lucky.
I am, and that's why I can give it to others.
Now
Yeah.
I'm going to cry with you. I feel the tears. Thank
Mm,
you.
yeah.
I want to thank your mom cuz
Olivia.
yeah,
Ah,
we all just got to have this experience with you
yeah.
because of your
Thanks.
experience with her. Mm,
What a
Yeah.
forwarded gift.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I really believe that her thing was love anyway.
Mm.
Love anyway. Somebody hurts you, love anyway. Somebody says this about love anyway. You're having a bad day, love anyway. And um yeah, and so it does mean a lot, that I get to carry that forward and that's the meaning that I gave to my life. I went from that place we were talking about of like answering the unconscious conditioning, right? So success then was defined externally, but
Mhm.
then it got to a point where success for me was living in alignment with the truth of my soul. And that means loving unconditionally. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, and
Yeah.
so Cuddlist lets me do that.
I want to say for those at home, I didn't grow up in that household and I can still
Mm,
do this work and it's not too late to learn how to love like that.
Mhm.
right on.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Michelle. Thank you for that, Michelle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We change generations, right?
We
And
do. And thank you, Michelle. Fucking thank you for taking that whatever bundle it was
yeah.
and turning it into soil that flower grows from,
Hmm.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I often say my youngest son says he got better years with me than his older brother because I'm a different mom post divorce, and a lot of that is that I found Cuddlist shortly after that, and I started to
Mm,
really heal through this work,
Mhm.
mm,
and I have better relationships with my kids because of
mm,
this work.
It trickles out. It has
Mhm.
such a snowball effect. I can relate to that in that my whole family now, our dynamic has shifted so much where my older sisters and my parents sometimes come to me at like because of this and it's not wisdom I have, right? Or I guess we could all say it's like this tapped into wisdom, but it's wisdom that I gained in this work, right? It's
mm,
that's what brought it to light for me. And so there is a resonance that has such a positive snowball effect. Just like trauma can have a
mm.
snowball effect in the negative and opposite way, the
Right.
healing can have such a
That's it.
snowball effect, healing others too, or that repair work.
Yeah, well, consciousness itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what we're doing. We're making the unconscious conscious. And then
Mhm.
as our light gets brighter, as you guys have both said, like other people, they start to go, "Oh," and that light comes on and
Mm-hmm.
I just, I mean, I don't want to get too serious here, but holy shit. Holy shit, the condition of this world today,
Mhm.
man. And this is it. This is to me if I'm not doing this work, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not taking that bundle and turning it into something else or helping other people do that,
Loving
what am
anyway.
I doing?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Loving anyway.
Loving anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right on.
Do you
Yeah.
Yeah.
do a lot of triadic model work, Clarissa? Do you work a lot with therapists
I
in your
have
area?
not yet. I have not yet. I recently just started reaching out to local therapists. Many of my clients are therapists. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say 20% of my clients are therapists.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just haven't felt called to reach out because I've never really needed to. But interestingly, so my fiance, I just
Mm-hmm.
recently got engaged. So
Congratulations.
thank you. So
Yeah.
he and I live together. He just moved in a few months ago. I have a really sweet little cottage that I rent that has a private entrance for my private practice. And interestingly, after he moved in, my practice took a dive.
Mm.
And I'm not sure what that's about because we've really worked out ways of keeping everything confidential. He totally respects and reveres my practice. Um, but yeah, it's been really slow lately. So yeah, so I'm gonna just start reaching out to therapists and see what happens.
You seem like you're right in line to be able to do some of that collaborative work around attachment wounds and
Yeah,
those
yeah,
the I think of I use the term the inner child work, other people use
hmm
parts work, whatever their terminology is, but it's such a
yeah, yeah.
great laboratory space to be able to work some of that
hmm
out. And so
Yes, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
If
and
I
and
okay.
sorry.
No, no, go right ahead. Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say, in terms of the inner child work, my introduction to that was adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional
Mm,
families.
mhm.
Mm.
Like 10 years ago. I've been in recovery since 97 and some of that recovery was actual recovery. Some of it was actually kind of damaging because it was really coming from a guilt place.
Mm.
And but when I found ACA, man, that was the mining for gold and that's when I really that was what brought me the courage to answer this calling because before then, that was a thing that really woke me up from the unconscious conditioning. And I'm saying that because anybody can check out ACA,
Mm.
adultchildren.org. There's online meetings on Zoom, men's, women's, everybody else's, like everything is there. And yeah, it was so helpful for me.
I have a client that is part of ACA and has gone in there bless their heart, and been like, "You need to find a cuddlist," and has, like, been this very vocal proponent of this work as far as that community goes, and
Yeah. Yeah.
sending me clients from across the country, like, "You don't know Michelle, she's in your area, you should check her out." Like, it's just an
Well, so
interesting
yeah,
world.
right on. So do you do Zoom sessions? Because
I
that's one thing I've never
don't.
done. Yeah, I've never done Zoom cuddle sessions. I'm just curious what that would be. Do you do them, Keely?
I
Keely does.
do. Yeah, I would say that they're about 30% of my business and growing. So I have a lot of clients who will do either hybrid, so they'll see me 1 week in person and then we'll continue our work virtually. My session rates are a little different because the convenience of
Hmm.
doing it on Zoom, it's a little less, labor
Right
intensive and
on.
whatnot.
Yeah.
And so we will do that. And then I have some clients who moved across country, so we continue to do work, or I have referrals from other folks that because they're in other states or in other places in the world or in Canada or whatnot, then
Yeah.
we do Zoom sessions. And I will say that I didn't do anything before the pandemic. It was something that was adapted in that time out of necessity, but it is really freaking cool what can happen. And it's different. There's a different flavor to it, right?
Yeah.
There is incredible work that can happen. There is definitely we can get some pretty robust somatic, like body comfort and existential comfort that can come in
Mm.
at the end of the sessions. And it's still going to have a different quality than an in-person session, always. So, yeah.
Yeah.
What was a client that comes to mind that you was one of the ones you learned the most from? Either
Ooh,
one session or over time? Either one of you, if something comes
Do
to
you want
mind.
me to go first, Keely? I have mine because
sure.
I we were just at Psych Networkers, so I've told a lot of these stories in
Oh, right
our
on.
we had an
Yeah.
exhibitors table and talked to a lot of therapists. I
Mhm.
always have really fond memories of the person that I say taught me, like my first client that came to me with a big trauma background,
Mm.
specifically to work on that in our space, and I learned so much from him. So, like, he just wanted eye gazing, he never wanted any touch.
Mm.
But what I learned from him about what a safe space can do for a nervous system,
Mm.
a human's
Mm.
experience of, like, it was in our space that he declared he could see me. And I said, "What do you mean?" And he says, "I've been walking in this haze of the event where everyone was a part of that event." And he's like, "I can see you. This is the first time in years." And, like,
I have chills right now.
yeah, he was amazing. He just would be like, "Remember in Peter Levine's Waking the Tiger, this is what this is." Like,
Mm.
he walked, like, I'd read the stuff, but to have that space to really get to implement, what does it mean to have a trauma release in the body?
Mm.
Like, what does that feel like? I would hold his shoulders right here and we would sway back and forth, kind of like a middle school dance, and they would
Mm.
pop like popcorn. They were so frozen, and it
Wow.
was just in that space, and we would do things on purpose to get a physical
Mm.
response, and he just changed my whole trajectory of my work.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. All
Mm.
love and gratitude to that human and to
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right on.
Yeah.
How about you, Keely? Does somebody come to mind?
It's hard to pick because I'm like, learned about what thing? Every single client teaches me something new. I'm trying to think of one of the biggest lessons or the biggest, maybe success stories. One of my clients I've been working with for 3 years, and just being present and supporting through the original part of getting sober, like when he was
Mm.
in deep in addiction when we started, and SI, deep in SI, and had attempts and
Mm.
etc during our time together, and then
Mm.
now 2 years sober, and with a different and successful job and living independently, and like
Mm.
just the amount of transformation that was possible, um and it's huge trauma background. The thing about that I learned with that, here's the lesson in it. That particular person's trauma is hot and loud and very sequestered. It is
Mm,
behind big steel brick
lots
walls,
of protection. Yeah.
lots of protection. So we never work directly with it. We
Mm-hmm.
don't. They're a no to that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
what this particular client taught me is we never actually have to. If it is that important, I never need to know what actually happened because we can do all of this work and all of this
Mm-hmm.
safety work without me ever needing to know the story. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that there can be moments
Mm-hmm.
where ego of the practitioner comes in, or curiosity for the practitioner
Yep.
comes in, and well, I'd be better to help you if I knew what happened
Yep.
and we could dig into it. And maybe you could expedite it, but at what cost? This
Mm-hmm.
person's internal intuition told
Yeah.
them in very loud, very clear terms, don't go there. I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
override that internal intuition when we're doing all this really profound work,
Yeah.
right? Knowing
It
in the
really speaks to
moment
the
you're safe.
client led
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
that's like foundational from the beginning. And I do remember that from the first training too. It is
Mhm.
Mhm.
client led. Every
Mhm.
session is client led. And that's such a deep, man, that's so deep to really live that in every session,
Mhm.
start to finish.
Mhm.
I'll say my client never the instructions from their trauma therapist was not to talk about it.
Mhm.
That was the only instructions the therapist wanted to give me was through the client, don't talk about it. And I didn't feel the need to talk about it at all. I don't need to know any of that. Eventually he did open up and share with me, but it was again client led. It was at his
Mhm.
pace and it's what felt right for him.
Mhm.
But it's so the talk about it thing from the Western mentality is
Mhm.
so mental body and so conceptual.
Mhm.
So it's really taking that relational field and adding a middleman to it, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
So yeah, it's like yay for
And
somatics.
and this particular person I'm referencing, again, we've been working together for over 3 years. And recently, just recently, there are 2 sessions we've had in the last couple months where for the first time ever, he said, "You know, I might be ready to look into some of that."
Mm,
On his own, right? Like he has the wisdom and it's not like he's stalling or like refute like some people will be labeled hard to treat or resistant to treat or like oh, that's so
right? Yeah.
hard
Can I
for
tell
me
you
to
what?
swallow. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you'll resonate with this. Gabor, what Gabor says. I'm just all about Gabor, as you can imagine. It'll go away someday, but for now, he says there are no difficult clients, only difficult therapists. And so it's if there's something that's difficult for me, it's something in me that's making it difficult, that has an agenda, that's blah blah blah. So anyway, I'm really hearing you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just so proud of a lot of that's maybe one of the things that feels the most profound in a lot of this work that I think is part of what makes it so fulfilling for me, just how freaking proud I am
Mm,
of all of these incredible humans
mm,
that I watch that have these remarkable lives, whether remarkable for the challenges that have come up in their lives or the challenges that they face, but the amount of heart and the amount of work that they are doing to
yeah.
figure it out. To just
'Cause
figure it the fuck out.
waking up is hard to do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's hard.
Okay, so another question.
Mm.
Either of you can answer this, whatever comes to mind. Your worst or hardest session?
Oh, I have mine
Mm.
right away.
Do
Bring
it.
it. Let's hear it.
He was in his 80s.
Mm.
He really wanted sex. Really wanted
Oh,
sex. And
oh.
I spent 45 minutes trying to teach him how to fish, right? Trying to help him know where he could go find available single senior women.
Mm,
And I would have never put up with as much effort as he tried to put me through if it wasn't for his age. And eventually after 45
mm,
minutes he had enough of me redirecting and he left and ended the session. But I always say he was the like the one that stands out every time because I had so much
mhm.
compassion for him. He had spent like the
Yeah.
last 35 years taking care of his wife and she had passed.
Oh,
And I felt
oh.
for him and I was like,
Mhm.
let's talk about the senior center and where you could go and how do you talk about sex with
Yeah.
people and just trying to normalize that conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Mhm. What about you? Do you have an answer to this or the answer to the last one? And then I can go too, but I'm curious.
Oh God, the first one, the client who taught me the most, was a client who actually fell in love with me
Mm.
and who is a therapist, who is a woman and had never had a romantic relationship in her adult life. And so I worked very closely with my mentor on this supervision wise because I wanted to run for the hills. And he coached me through it, and it was incredibly challenging. But she was a client for 5 years, and and I really learned and grew through that. She's a very spiritual being, and we both really grew through that process. But yeah, that was incredibly challenging. I would say it's both the most challenging because my trigger around I'm bad if I don't love you.
Mm.
And also I have this, I don't have it anymore. I used to have a trigger around not wanting to lead people on,
Mm.
that it was my fault if you had feelings for me that I had given you the wrong signal. Anyway, so there was that. And then, but also I just learned so much because, and so clients who see me for more than a month or two, I check in after every couple months. I'm like, okay, why are you seeing me? What are we doing here? And she just kept wanting to see me. And so we did until she didn't. And so, yeah, that was a journey.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like. And the most challenging?
Same thing.
Ugh, yeah,
Same. Yeah,
got it.
same. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, I come to love my clients. How could you not?
Mhm.
Right. So, yeah. So completing that and not seeing her anymore was also a process for me of like, wow, she had become a part of my archetypal landscape for quite a while.
It sounds a lot like surrogate partner work.
Yes, yeah,
Mhm.
I've done a lot of
And
that.
that
Yeah.
breakup, that intentional breakup and
Mhm.
going through that process.
Yeah.
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 My So there's an answer to this question, but I don't real but there's like a worst experience. And it was when I was new, but I don't really call this person a client because the first session didn't even like it was so bad. Nothing really ended up happening. Um it was just legendarily bad. Um but so that's not really a client, right? That's not really someone that like I got to connect with.
In the
Mm,
beginning, I never had anybody more than one session for these exact same reasons. So
mm.
I don't
Do
know
you
that
still want to
I
hear that story? Okay.
yeah, absolutely.
I did not have my fleshed out consultation process. I didn't have a lot of my systems in place. So, we were, it was an out call session at a lovely place, downtown Chicago. And I arrived and we're going to meet in the lobby, but a convention of some sort, like I think it was something sports related, was going on, and so it was very very busy and bustling, and so it was a little chaotic in the lobby, and so we were texting. I was like, okay, I'm right here in this location, can't find you. Okay, well, how about I go to the front desk? I'm just standing right by the front desk, so it's a really clear spot. Well, I'm in the spot that you just were. Can you come? And so this happened for about 30 minutes, this run around here, there. And I was like, it has been a full 30 minutes. I can't assume that this is not intentional anymore.
Mm,
I've
mm,
given you the most benefit of the doubt that I possibly can give you, and this is my limit, and so I'm gonna go. Then I start getting texts of, you smell so good, the way your hair is blah blah blah, and like, so he'd been
Beep,
watching me,
beep, beep.
yeah, that whole time, and then started offering, well, if I pay extra XYZ. And I'm like, no, I'm going. And so I blocked the number. But this was back, like I said, almost 10 years ago. And Craigslist, there was the spin-off called
Mm,
Backpage. Do y'all remember
mhm.
Backpage that's been debunked and shut down?
Well, I think
Um,
Backpage was probably older than Craigslist, but yes.
Probably, yeah. He posted my number, my contact information with an
Oh,
ad on
Keely. Oh,
Backpage. So for 24
Keely.
hours, my phone
Oh,
did not stop ringing with the
oh my
most
God.
vile messages. Because in that
Oh
ad
my
that he
God.
had posted before I got
Oh.
them to take it down, it was like, I'm interested in this, and like the most like raunchiest things, like tell me about all of the in the ad. So my phone just blew up for 24 hours with all these voice messages. I just put it away. I walked away. Yeah,
I'm
that was
just
the
great.
worst experience ever.
I'm grateful that, like you, my processes have
So
improved.
changed. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
not heard of
I
anymore.
I can't say that I've had a quote unquote bad experience with a client
Yeah.
since I really changed my processes coming back from COVID, and I
Mhm.
got
Mm,
real lots of hoop jumping.
Mhm.
mm,
Mhm.
mm. Yeah. Yeah, it's a process, isn't it? Figuring
Mhm.
out that
Mhm.
because I'll tell you guys, I think that calling it cuddle sessions is a little bit dicey, right? Because
Yeah.
cuddle has romantic connotations to it. And and so one of the things that was really tricky for me in the beginning is I um I was barely surviving. I was barely surviving. And so when that financial survival stuff comes in,
Mhm.
it really starts to make things fuzzy,
Mhm.
Mhm.
right? So that was a
Mhm.
big, heavy lesson for me in the beginning. First of all, being very, very clear about not only my boundaries, but my purpose. Because my purpose is not profit. I don't do this for profit. I really do this to help the healing of the world. But, it would not be
Yeah.
fair of me to screen a client and to be offering something to them that they're looking for that I actually know is not what I'm offering.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So that process of getting very clear about being able to know exactly what it is that I'm offering, that's of course within Cuddlist boundaries, and not shaming the
Mhm.
client because
Mhm.
whatever they want is perfectly okay. It's
Mhm.
just I don't want to disappoint them,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like to use the analogy, your dermatologist isn't going to shame you for having heart issues. You're just in the wrong office. You need to go to
Oh,
the
oh, I
cardiologist.
love that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
You're just
Speaking
in the
of
I
wrong
love that.
office. Yeah.
speaking of the word cuddle
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
what it kettle sessions and what that conjures up, I'm curious, what do you call your work? Do you use any alternative languaging?
Ah, I'm working on it. I've been working on it. I would say that I'm a touch therapist,
Mhm.
that I help people connect their mind, body, and voice,
Mm.
that I support safe somatic connection.
Mhm.
Those are
Mhm.
the kind of the ways that I would describe it. And
Yeah.
so for a while I also taught tantra, but I just had to step away from it because the Western world has a very different view and understanding of tantra than I do. But it still influences my sessions,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's yeah.
Yeah.
What is one unexpected thing you learned about yourself through this work?
I learned who I'm not.
Mm.
Oof. Okay. Yeah. Say more if you want to.
Uh I think in the beginning, I was a little bit of a white girl with crystals,
Mhm.
and I found out pretty quickly that I'm not. That what I am, I'm not even a white girl, you know what I'm saying? That what I am is consciousness. And but that was a really painful process of just learning what I'm not over and over.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And that's a really abstract answer, but that's the truth.
Uh, it
We welcome the
resonates.
abstract here. Yeah.
Does
Oh
it?
yeah.
Right
Yeah.
on.
I think about differentiation and how much I've learned who I am or who I'm not or what I'm not
Mm,
interested in or all these different ways that we differentiate ourselves and how that has brought me back to this work, right?
mm,
From the surrogate partner world of that finding myself and who I am because of the
mm.
practice of
Yeah.
authenticity and not wanting to self abandon in these things, like, yeah, I totally feel you on that.
Right on.
Absolutely.
Right on.
Mm. Mm. This has been just the right choice. I'm so glad we did this. I'm
Me
so glad we
too.
did this. Oh,
Thank you so much. I really appreciate, respect, and love both of you, and
mm.
would appreciate any connection with you guys anytime for sure.
Yeah, if
Well,
I
this
get
is
up your
definitely
way,
more.
I'm booking a session.
Please, I'd love that.
I would love to share that space with you, and I just gotta get
Right on.
a little farther north than I tend to go, but yeah,
Right
that would
Mm.
on.
be fantastic. Where can we find you out in the world, Clarissa?
So yeah, I'm on the Cuddlist website, Clarissa in Santa Cruz. You can just look up California or Santa Cruz. And I have a Yelp page in Santa Cruz. And those are the main ways that people find me.
Awesome.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And
Thank you
I
both.
you've just enriched a lot of our lives, and anyone who gets to listen to this is definitely going to
Mm,
be enriched by this conversation. Thank you so much.
thank you for that.
Mhm.
And for
Thanks.
everyone listening, as always, thank you for joining us today, and big hugs if you want them.
Mhm.
Bye.